In the wake of January's deadly midair collision, there have been major new restrictions on military helicopters flying near Reagan National Airport. Now, for the first time, we're gaining some insight into the military side of that rerouting. We met with the Coast Guard helicopter crews responsible for intercepting unidentified small planes near D.C. Scott Broom shows us how they operate from their base at DCA.
This helicopter is one of a fleet of 4 U.S. Coast Guard helicopters with crews that have a call sign Blackjack. Even 23 years after 9/11, they still scramble several times a week, they say, to go out and intercept either wayward aircraft or other threats.
Fuse are getting checked, fuel panel is checked.
And they fly security when the president is coming and going.
Set at close to field elevation.
Commander Nathaniel Rhodes flies intercept missions. Does this stuff still happen?
It does. We'll get a few violators a week that we'll end up getting scrambled on.
Because intercepting wayward small planes is considered a critical national security mission, and because Blackjack flights launch from Reagan, it means they're among the few military missions still allowed near the airport after a ban on non-critical helicopter flights. That ban was imposed after the tragic collision between American Airlines Flight 5342 and an Army Black Hawk helicopter on January 29th. Since then, a low-altitude helicopter corridor along the Potomac called Route 4 is now closed. Enhanced electronic identifying signals from helicopters are now required. Air traffic controllers are more involved, keeping military flights, including Blackjack missions, at least 1.7 miles away from any passenger planes, when previously only 150 feet of altitude separation used to be considered legal. It means even most Blackjack flights are now altered. Here's Captain Jeff Graham.
We take off and land strictly to the west now to stay away from the runways, whereas before we had ways to cross them.
And again, Commander Rhodes.
We don't come anywhere near the extended center lines for the runways.
Safety has always been number one.
Yes, sir.
But now it's at a different dial. Is that fair to say?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's always been number one, but maybe the margin of safety has gone from maybe, 10 to 20. We've doubled the margin of safety.
The rules are changing. We abide by all FAA rules, regulations, and agreements that we have and comply with any instructions in the area. It's a bit more dynamic because of those changes.
We know that there's more changes that will be coming in June, so we're still kind of storming and forming and figuring out the best way to operate in this environment.
Blackjack pilots say even after all the changes designed to keep military aircraft farther away from passenger airliners, the airspace around D.C. remains one of the most complicated places in the country to fly. And they're doing that while maintaining their mission of going out to intercept wayward aircraft or even threats 24/7. With the U.S. Coast Guard at Reagan National Airport, Scott Broom, WUSA 9.
All right, Scott, thank you. We also wanted to show you a unique moment that Scott captured while working with these air crews. In addition to safety, they talked a lot about their missions to intercept unidentified flights coming into the restricted airspace near Washington. Frequently, they're catching up to low-flying small planes with pilots who are either lost or not paying attention, and the helicopters pull up beside them in the air. That's when Scott discovered some really unique things about the Blackjack helicopters.
You've got to be kidding me. You guys have a sign?
This is it. This is the signboard.
Reverse course. And this is how you communicate sometimes.
This is sometimes the most effective way if they don't have a radio to communicate with a pilot.
Doesn't that, I mean, come on, we've got AI, we've got all this technology, and you guys are showing a sign like on a bus.
If they don't have a working radio, maybe they had electronic failure in the aircraft, or you know what, it's not even required sometimes to have a radio depending on what they're doing. So this is the most effective way to communicate.
The other thing I notice is you basically have police lights on this thing. I mean, this is like getting, it's not the same thing, but it is kind of like getting pulled over by the state police in the sky.
Just like if you're in a car and you see flashing red and blue lights, if you're in the air and you see flashing blue lights, you should probably take notice.
Interesting, right? The pilots say they scramble several times a week, and when they're on missions to enforce airspace closures when President Trump travels to his resorts in New Jersey and Florida, it can actually happen several times in a single weekend.